Hey there, my name is Antonio, and in this course I'm going to show you how to build a fully functional Jira clone using modern web technologies. This project is great for developers who want to improve their skills in building complex web applications and learn about project management tools. We'll be using Next.js, React, Tailwind, Hono.js, and Appwrite to create our Jira clone. Throughout the course, you'll learn how to implement various features that you'd expect from a professional project management platform. We'll build a My Tasks page where you can view your tasks in different formats. We'll implement a table view for a quick overview and a Kanban board for easy drag and drop task management. And finally, a calendar view for better deadline tracking. We'll create individual task pages where you can view and edit task details. You'll learn how to implement features like editing task descriptions and deleting tasks with confirmation models. On the task list, we'll add filtering capabilities, allowing users to quickly find tasks based on different criteria like the person assigned to that task. We'll also implement an editing system where you can change assignees, move tasks between projects, and update their status. For user management, we'll create a members page where you can view all members in a workspace. You'll learn how to implement role-based access control, allowing you to set members as guests, promote them to admins, or remove them from the workspace. We'll build project pages with their own set of analytics and settings. You'll learn how to create, edit, and manage projects within a workspace. Creating new tasks will be a key feature. We'll implement a task creation form where you can set all necessary details like name, due date, assignee, status, and associated project. To personalize the experience, we'll add workspace settings where users can rename their workspace and upload a custom image. We'll also create a workspace switcher component to easily navigate between different workspaces. We'll implement an invite system with shareable links, making it easy to bring new members on board. You'll see how new members are integrated into the workspace and can start creating and managing tasks right away. By the end of this course, you'll have built a functional Jira clone that you can use for your own projects or add to your portfolio. You'll have gained valuable experience in creating complex, interactive web applications. And now, without further ado, let's build the project. This is a quick reminder that you can also use my platform, codewithantonio.com, and you can watch this entire course in chapters, and you can also mark your progress. You can also become a premium member, and you can unlock special courses like Canva clone, as well as source code to over 20 premium projects and over 170 hours of premium content. Let's go ahead and let's set up our project. In order to do that, we first have to ensure specific system requirements. So let's go ahead and let's head inside of our terminal, and I want you to run the command node-v. Go ahead and read the version it says right here and double check that it is the necessary requirement on the Next.js installation page. So at the time of recording this video, that is at least Node.js 18.18. So my version, Node 20, will work just fine. In case you have a lower version or don't have Node installed, meaning you got an error here, simply click on this link, which will open a Node.js website, and you can download the latest long-term support, which would be 20.17 at the time of recording this video. There is an alternative runtime you can install if you want to, which is something that I'm going to do in this tutorial. So I'm going to quickly show you the differences between using the two runtimes. As you can see, it supports Linux, macOS, and Windows. So if you choose to use the Node.js runtime, you would simply run the commands as you see in the documentation. npx create next app. But if you're going to use Bun version, you're going to have to switch it up a bit. So first of all, let me show you where does the npx come from. So if you have Node installed, you also have npx installed. So you can check this as well. If you choose to install bun using this command, then you can then run bun version as well. And if you have bun installed, you also have bunx installed. So bunx is the same as npx, and bun is the same as node. Of course, I'm speaking in terms of those two different runtimes. Great, so now that we know the basics of our commands, choose the runtime you want to use, and let's go ahead and set up Next.js. But before you run this command, I just quickly want to show you something. So instead of running npx create next app, since I'm using the bun runtime, I will be using bunx create next app. And I quickly want to show you the version of create next app that I have. This is important because I want to ensure that anyone following this tutorial can have the exact same version and doesn't have to fear that anything's been deprecated, especially because there are some breaking changes coming in the upcoming versions of Next.js. So let's go ahead and do the following. Let's run either npx or bunx create next app, and instead of @latest, we're going to use 14.2.14. And then let's go ahead and give our project a name. I'm going to call it Jira clone. Let's go ahead and select yes for TypeScript, yes for ESLint, yes for Tailwind, yes for source directory, yes for the app router, no for customizing the default import alias, and let's just wait a second for this to install. Since I'm using bun, you can see that I have bun install here. If you wrote npx inside of here, you would probably have the message using node, and then you would have npm install here. So those are basically the differences, just a different runtime. I prefer bun. I personally experienced it to be much faster. Great. Now that we have that, we can go ahead and head inside of our new project Jira clone. And from here, go ahead and open this directory inside of Visual Studio Code or any editor that you prefer. If you get a message similar to this inside of Visual Studio Code, you can simply press yes, I trust the authors, like that. And there we go. I am now inside of my Jira clone. You can see I have the source directory. Inside of here, I have the app folder, I have the fonts, I have the globals files, the icon, the layout, the page. But let's go ahead and immediately go inside of package.json, and I want you to see whether you have any differences in the versions. So I'm using React 18, React DOM 18, and Next 14.2.14. And here are my dev dependencies. These don't have to match 100%, but I want to show you this in case you run into some problems or in case you chose to use the next latest version, so you can always look at the most important packages which I have and which version they are. So you can set them to be exactly like this. But if you used bunx command like we did right here, bunx create next app at 14.2.14, I think you will have all the exact same versions that I do. Great. Let's go ahead and let's try running the app. So I'm going to go ahead, and you can either do npm run dev or you can do bun run dev. So the cool thing about bun is that you can interchange it. So if at any point you want to switch back to npm, you can do that, right? So I can shut this down and I can do npm run dev, and it's working just fine. So run either one of those two commands and head to localhost 3000. I'm going to copy the URL. I'm going to go inside of my browser here. In case you're wondering, I'm using the Arc browser. And there we go. So this is my Next.js homepage here. My version is dark because I'm on dark mode at the moment. Yours might be bright. Great, so that is the initial setup that I want us to have. Great job. What we are going to set up next is Chatcien UI, and we're going to use it to build our own component library. If you want to, you can visit the documentation yourself and follow along, or you can just watch the commands I run and run them yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and follow the documentation for Next.js. And first things first, we have to run npx chatcien init. Here's the cool thing about the documentation page. If you click on the copy button, you can choose which package manager you are using. So npm yarn p-npm, or in my case, bun. But before we run this command, I want to show you exactly which version of Chatcn UI I'm using. So I'm going to go ahead and run bunx --bun Chatcn -- version. There we go, 2.1.0. So now I'm going to go ahead and run bunx --bun Chatcn at 2.1.0 init. Or if you're using Node, it would be npx Chatcn at 2.1.0 init. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat my one more time, 2.1.0, and just init without any dashes or spaces here. Let's go ahead and select which style we would like to use. So usually in my projects I use the default style, but this time we're going to switch it up and use the New York style. This is kind of important because regarding of which style you choose, you're going to have some different packages installed, specifically the icons. So make sure you choose New York. For the color, I'm going to go ahead and select neutral as my color. I'm going to select yes for CSS variables here, and I'm just going to let it run its course. There we go. So success. Project initialization completed. You may now add components. We're going to explain what that means in a second, but let's quickly take a look at everything that has changed inside of our project here. So as you can see, first of all, I have some new packages here. So this Radix UI React icons comes from the New York style. We also have a package class variants authority, CLX, Lucid React, and we also have Tailwind Merge and Tailwind CSS Animate. So those are all the new packages which have been installed running this Chatcn version. So I would recommend that you go inside of your package JSON and just double check that you have all of those here as well. Great. But besides that, I think we have some more things here. So we also have a modified tailwind config.ts here. And this part is very, very important. We're going to come back to this later. But as you can see, not much we can read from here, just some basic things set up here. And let's go ahead and finish looking at everything that was added. So same thing in globals.css. You can see that a bunch of new stuff was added here. And finally, we have the utils file located inside of source libutils. And inside of here, we have a new cn method, which we're going to use a lot in our project. So cn method will be used to properly merge or conditionally show or hide Tailwind classes without any conflicts. Great, so we have that. So let's go ahead and run our app now that we have Chatcn installed. So bun run dev, again at localhost 3000 here. Let's go ahead and refresh this page. And there we go. So the only thing that changed for me is the bright background at the moment. Nothing else has changed. Great. So now let's go ahead and let's learn how to add some components inside of here. So I'm going to go ahead and go quickly back inside of Chatcn documentation. And I'm going to go ahead and click on components here. And I'm going to find the button component because that's going to be the one we're going to be using a lot. And inside of here, I'm simply going to copy the bun version. So now let's go ahead, and if you want to, you can shut down your app or you can just open an alternative terminal here. And I'm going to paste the command. The only thing I'm going to change is I'm not going to use the @latest version. I'm going to use the @2.1.0 because I want you to be able to see exactly which versions I have to ensure that this project has some longevity to it, and so that no matter when you come across this project, you can follow it exactly as I am right now. Let's go ahead and let's click enter, and there we go. We now have a new component inside of our project. Where can we find that component? Well, inside of source and the new folder here, components UI button.tsx. The only difference is that we cannot see that component at all. So let's go ahead and let's find this route right here, this next.js with these two buttons. So that is located inside of source app folder, page.tsx. What you can do here is you can remove everything inside of this return method and this image import and just return a div hello world like this. And there we go. You can see my hello world text right here. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and let's import the button component from components UI button. So this @ is an alias which will take us to source, right? So we don't have to do the ... /... you know, all of those things. We are just using an alias here. And now let's go ahead and let's render our button component here. And let's go ahead and say click me. There we go. We now have a button component, and we can go ahead and give it a variant of destructive, for example, or ghost, like this. We can also give it a different size, like large or small. And the coolest thing about the entire thing is that this component is ours. It's not hidden away in node modules. We can actually modify every single thing you can imagine, from the actual variants, which we just played around. For example, above default, I can add, I don't know, a test here, and I can go ahead and give it a background green and the text of white. And I can now go back here and change the variant to test. And there we go. Now it's green. So that's the cool thing. This is what's going to allow us to create a very specific and very custom component library. And we can do the same thing with the sizes here, and we can do the same thing with the actual code. Great, so you now learned how to add the components, and you can see I'm having an error here because I'm using an unknown variant here. Perfect. So besides this, I also want to test out whether our tailwind is actually working and just show you something a bit important here. So I'm going to write Antonio here, you can write your name, and I'm going to give this a class name of text red 500, and let's go ahead and use font semi-bold. So as you can see, my tailwind is working. Not only is it working, but I also have some cool hover features here, and I can even see this box right here. So how do I get those effects? Well, very simple. It is an extension called Tailwind CSS. So you can go ahead and install, my apologies, not Tailwind CSS, just Tailwind. There we go, Tailwind CSS IntelliSense. This is the one with 7 million installs. So make sure you have that. It's very useful when working with Tailwind. And another thing that I want you to ensure and double check is that inside of your tailwind config.ts, your content looks exactly like this. This is very, very important, right? Because, for example, right now at this moment, if I were to create a source and inside of here add features, for example, and inside of here, if I were to, let's say, add, I don't know, component.tsx, let's call it test, export const test component, and let's return a div hello test component. Let's go inside of our app folder, inside of page.tsx, and let's import that test component from features test. There we go, I have the text hello test component. And right now, I believe if I add a class name here, text red 500, it is working, right? But I think that this Tailwind config is not set up correctly, right? So let me just go ahead and go back inside of here. As you can see, this Tailwind config is only covering components